All right, this is the Waterman episode. This is part one here. We're just going to talk about the ocean here and swimming and how to look at it. So I took a bunch of guys out yesterday. We just kind of ran out. Nobody looked at the waves. And I wasn't worried about it because they're not that big. So I was like, whatever. But then I realized, and we got out there, that it was, the water was moving around and that the guys were not used to it. So I was like, oh shit, we need to learn some basics, right? Very, very important. If you learn the basics of the ocean, you will have a lifetime of happiness. It is a simple, simple thing. Okay, so first thing you want to look at is, are there any sets, right? So right now, there's no waves. So you don't know how big it is. You don't know where the waves are right now. You kind of want to look, is it over here? Is it here? Is it here? Like where are the waves? So basically like, okay, let's see. See how this wave's breaking all at once? That's basically a wall. So you can't surf on a wall, you can't body surf on a wall because you just kind of like crunch down like that. You don't want to crunch down. Okay, over there is kind of a left. So if you take out there, see how it's going that way a little bit? And now that's too fast for body surfing. But if you had a surfboard, you could go like this and then start doing stuff. Let's see if there's any ways. Okay, here he goes. He's gonna go down there. He's kind of doing on a left there, but it's walling off, so it's not that good. So that's the first thing. You want to see where are the waves that I want to go to. So what I usually do is I check the surf reports. I look at the cams. I find out because if the swell, the waves, if they're coming from the south, it's going to be certain beaches are good, and it's coming from the north, other beaches are good. So it's totally different. Depends on the south swell or a north swell. So you kind of want to check, and then you ask people like, where is good today? Like what's happening today? So you can't just go in the water because there's going to be nothing. You're going to have no fun. So you kind of got to know where's the action. It's kind of like going to a party or a club. You got to find out where the people are, what's going on. So you just check the webcams, and you'll start to know like this place is good in the summertime. It's usually south swells in California. In the wintertime, it's north swells generally, right? Okay, so that's the first thing. Get to the right beach. Then when you get here, then you want to check where are the peaks? Like where are the peaks? Where are the waves? How far out is it? Let's see, what else? Yeah, where is it going to be the most fun? So if you stand like this naturally with your left foot forward, that's called regular foot, okay? And if you stand with your right foot forward, then that's goofy foot. Okay, so you're either regular foot or goofy foot. So try to see which one you guys are. Let's see. What's the most comfortable for you? Okay, so you are goofy. You're right foot forward. Yeah, right foot forward. So you're goofy.
I don't know. This actually kind of feels really good.
Okay.
Are you trying to find a balance on it, or?
Whichever one is the most natural.
I suppose right foot back. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of
Actually, right foot back makes more sense. I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are both regular foot. So if you're regular foot, then you're generally gonna like rights. Okay, because rights are going that way because it's rights from the water side. Okay, so you're looking towards the. Let me look towards the beach. So I'm looking towards the beach and I'm going right that way and I'm going left that way. Okay, so rights, you're gonna catch it and then you're gonna go and then you're gonna catch it and go that way. So you're looking for like a peak that kind of comes like this, it starts breaking, and then it just keeps going. You don't want it all white, it just kind of breaks like that. You want it kind of like, it's like coming down here, and then you can just zoom down that way, right? Okay, so the next thing is like safety. So this water is actually moving a lot. It's like the water is heaving and moving. Even though the waves aren't big, there's a lot of water movement. That's why the lifeguards kicked us out.
Yeah.
Well, one, because they're fucking drones and NPCs, idiots. But besides that, there is a current, okay? The water is moving, okay? So you can drown. You can get in trouble out here, for sure. But that's the fucking point of life. You go out there, you get in trouble, you learn what not to do and what to do. If you're always, this is why everybody drowns now. Because nobody goes out and look at this, nobody's swimming. Nobody's learning today. Like nobody's learning. That's what sucks. And so everybody is getting closer to drowning on this beach because nobody's learning anything, right? 100%. Nobody's learning shit because of safety. so dumb. It's so dumb. But I don't want to like say you can't drown and die. So, you know, that is a fact. The ocean is powerful, right? So you have to like think about it. Don't be overly confident. You'll start to learn what is overly confident for you, right? Okay, so the other thing is like, this is one question everyone's always worried about. It's really not that big a deal. Is a riptide. So people will say, oh, there's a riptide. Like the lifeguard said there's a riptide, but she's lying, and I didn't say anything to her. But a riptide is visible. You can see a riptide. Okay, so a riptide is like this. So we'll look at the thing here. So let's say this is the shore. Okay, and that means that means the water is going this way. Okay, so the water's going that way, and that means it's going to pull you out, right? So your first impression is that you're going to die, right? Because you're going out. It's scary, scary, scary. But it's different than a river. Okay, so a river goes one direction. So bring it down so I can let me get it near my mouth. A river is like this. A river goes one direction. So you get in the river, you're gonna go down the river. So simple. But the ocean is a huge. It's like waves hitting each other. There's no direction in the ocean. There are currents and stuff, but generally in the ocean, it's just a mess. It's just like waves running into rocks, backing up into another wave, and it's like that. So it's going back and forth, right? Yeah. So the first thing you need to know is to not freak out if it starts pulling you out. Okay, so it starts. Let's say you get in a riptide. It starts pulling you out. Well, just remember, it's not a river. So it's not going to take you to Japan, okay, from California, or from Japan to California. It's not going to do that. What it's going to do is going to take you out a little bit. So what it'll do, a riptide will take you, and then it will curve back like that. It won't go all the way in. It won't go all the way in, but it'll curve back a little bit, and then it kind of dies out over there. So, or it'll curve out both ways, right? So it kind of comes out, and you can see a riptide because it's brown. It's brown because it's pulling sand. It's pulling sand out here, and then it's going around. So if you get caught in it, let's say you're not a very good swimmer, just don't freak out, because you're going to come, and you might be like a quarter mile out or something, but you're going to stop. Okay, and then all you got to do is swim back in. Now the thing is, if you're coming like this, if you're swimming back in, don't swim this way. Don't swim into the rip current. Just swim over this way or something, right? Kind of away from the rip current at an angle. So most people say 45-degree angle is a good angle to go towards the beach if you're having any trouble, right? Just go a little slower, go that way. And remember that each time you kind of like move your arms and swim a little bit, every time you move a little bit, you're moving a little bit. Don't feel like, because it feels like you're not getting any progress. You'll feel like, oh, I'm just going back and forth and back and forth. You're technically making progress. Yeah. So just kind of what I do is I switch around. So I'll be swimming forward for a while, a few strokes, and then I'll start kind of like laying on my back and kind of just going backwards, using my arms around, right? And then I'll kind of go forward a little bit. Then I'll do some freestyle. You want to mix it up. Don't just do the same stroke the whole time. Like I like to turn on my back, because on my back it's very relaxing. And then you just kind of like, you're on your back like and then your arms are just going like this, from all the way back behind your shoulder, and then like that. And then that'll push you too, and then you kind of kick a little bit. Your legs are the key thing, right? So when you're swimming out, make sure, don't just use your arms. Your legs are powerful, right? Your legs are all muscle, and they're big, right? So when you just kick hard, make sure you kick, woof, 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 kick hard, and you will move. And then your hands, they kind of guide you in the direction you want to go. So your legs are helping you. Like if you look at the Olympic swimmers, they are kicking like crazy. They are using their legs. You only see the arms, but it's the legs. The legs are helping you to glide, and they're also helping you to kick. They're not moving like big movements, but it's like powerful movements that keep that half of your body in the air, right? So, and your legs don't get tired as easily. Your arms get tired much easier, right? So always focus on your legs. Let those things, because your legs can just keep going like crazy, right? Your legs is no problem, right? But if your arms, it's harder, and also your arms are closer oh yeah, so water in your mouth. Okay, this is a big thing. Is people are like in the water and they get water in their mouth. Right? So you have to be aware. So what I'm doing when I'm going out in the water, like a lot of people, like yesterday, I noticed a lot of people were looking towards the shore. Don't do that. You always want to look that way. You're always looking to the water. Where is the next wave? Right? The waves are not coming from here. The waves are always coming from out there. I mean, sometimes they'll be backwash, but it'll come up here and kind of come back. But basically, the waves are coming from there. So that's how you get water in your mouth, is you're not paying attention. So you're basically looking that way, and every time the wave comes, okay, the biggest mistake people make is they don't go deep enough underneath the wave. They just they put their head a little bit under, or they try to go over the wave, over the white water. When the white water comes, you want to go down, 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 deep, okay? So like that one's a powerful wave. Even though it's not that big, it's a powerful wave. These are powerful waves. Yeah, that's why the lifeguards are freaking out. Because they're right, like bad swimmers, this is tough. Like that there, that's a powerful wave.
If we had been out there during that, I mean, so sometimes sometimes you just start to tumble, right? What happens
yeah,
how do you avoid, because I'm very inexperienced, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, you said, okay, when you're trying to let the wave go past you, you're not going to catch it, just go a meter underwater.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that helped a certain amount. But then there's that point where when you are coming in, right? And then it's like, oh shit, I can't go under the water and avoid this wave. And then it just kind of sometimes it hits you and then you're just tumbling like a tumbleweed.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of avoid that when you're coming in, or
Well, you can get in that kind of tumbling anytime. Like when you catch a wave, you're going to catch it, and then you're going to go right or left, right? And then when it breaks, it's going to eventually you're going to tumble. You're going to get water up your nose. And if it's big waves, like these are not big waves. Like what I would say I would consider starting to get to be big waves would be let's say twice as tall as that lifeguard tower.
Oh, shit.
Then you're getting to big waves, right? So a big wave, when you come down a big wave and then you start tumbling, you don't know which way is up and down. Like you can't tell anymore. It gets confusing because it just gets confusing. So what you do then is, the key thing is the number one rule. This is the number one rule in the water. Relax. That is the number one rule. This will save your life. You always relax when you don't know what to do. Always relax. Always relax. Anything happens, relax. So I was scuba diving one time by myself. You're not supposed to do that. It was in the Philippines. I'm very comfortable in the water. I break a lot of the rules because I'm a waterman. I've been in the water my whole life. And I might die in the water. It's possible. I accept that. Dying in the water for me would be a good place. I'm fine with that. So anyway, I was scuba diving alone, and I got surrounded by a million. The guy gave me some bread to give to the fish. So I was giving the fish bread, but then too many surrounded me. I could not see. It became pitch black. I couldn't see anything. And so then, because they were beautiful colored fish, but there was just too many. Like literally, I don't even know how many. They just surrounded me, these tiny little fish. And it was pitch black, I couldn't see anything. And then I started swimming up, and then I hit my head on coral because I was kind of in a cave. I was kind of in the entrance of a cave. And so then I hit my head on the coral, and then I went in straight into my, my book of knowledge. Because I did not know where I was. I didn't know which way was up and down. And I just hit my head, and I knew my head was bleeding. It's not really that big a deal, actually. There's no big deal. But anyway, so I hit my head. So then I said, okay, you got to totally relax. So I just sat there. I didn't move. I thought, okay, what should I do now? And I thought, oh, the bread's still in my hand. I'll throw the bread away. And then the fish will go get the bread. So they'll be light again. So I threw the bread, and then it took longer than I thought because there were so many fish. It took 5 minutes for the fish to go, and I could start to see. Yeah, and then I realized, okay, I'm next to coral, because I didn't even know what I hit my head on. I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was all just water above me. I had no idea, because I was completely disoriented because I couldn't see. So anyway, but I used the relax and don't do anything wrong, right? So when you're tumbling, it's exactly the same. You can't see anything, and if it's a big wave, you literally don't know where you are. So what you do is you just relax. Let it take you. Let it tumble. Enjoy it. There's nothing there to hurt you. It's just water, you know. Now, if you're over by the rocks, that's another thing. That's another story. We could talk about that. But basically, most of the time, you're going to be out here, and it's just water. So just the worst thing you can do is you can hit the bottom, which you're only going to do that in extremely large waves. And only a couple times in my life have I hit the bottom. That came down a very big wave in Japan. It was a huge wave, and it was a powerful wave. It was a typhoon, and it took me over, and then it just sucked me over the falls. It's called over the falls. I went over the falls. It was such a huge wave, and the lip was like, I don't know, it was like 1.5 feet, 2 feet thick. So these are like only a few inches thick, these lips. But the lip was so fucking strong because it was clean. It was just this huge, just firing fucking wave. So I went over the falls, kind of like a mini chopu, right? And it took me all the way down the bottom, which was pretty deep. It was like 10 feet. And then I hit the bottom so hard, it was like there was no water. And it knocked the wind out of me. And again, I just relaxed. That never happened before, so I didn't know what it was. And I thought, wow, you hit the ground fucking hard, man. And then I relaxed, wait a little bit, get my bearings, figure out which way is up, which way is down. That's the thing you want to do. So you're trying to figure, where am I? Right? Don't start swimming, because you don't know. You really don't know. You think you know, but you don't. So just let yourself relax, find out which way you should go, what's the next smart move to do, right? You make that smart move. And then in any time in the water, anytime, there's no benefit to ever not being relaxed. Really. It's always you want to be relaxed. No matter how dangerous it is. In fact, the more dangerous it is, the more you want to relax. Because that's when it's more important. You know, when you're in small waves, you can be pretty nervous, it doesn't matter. But anytime big waves, you really want to relax. And remember, that water, also, the water cannot, a lot of people think the water can suck you under. But just think about it logically. If the water was going down, if the water was going this way, what would happen in like a few seconds? The whole ocean would disappear. If there was a drain in the bottom, if there was a bunch of drains in the bottom of the ocean, all the water would disappear. It can't go down, because where would it go? The water basically can't suck you under. It's like the dumbest idea ever. Just think about it. If the water went down, how is that fucking possible? It's not possible. Now, of course, the water goes like this, and then it comes down temporarily, but not very far. It just hits the other water and stops. And then there's the ground right there, right? So now, if you're in the deep sea, which I've been in the water in deep ocean, it's different dynamics, but you're never going to do that. So you don't have to worry about that. But this stuff here, you can always, so you relax, and then, okay, so you're out there, you're having fun, you're catching the waves, you're looking towards the ocean all the time, always looking towards the ocean, for two reasons. One, because you want to not have water in your mouth, but the most important thing is because it's fucking fun. So you're like, where is the good, because it's always shifting, the peak is always shifting. So sometimes the fun part is over there, that surfer's right there, because that's the best place for him. And then you're looking down here, where's the best place? So sometimes there'll be like one peak, but there's a lot of people. If you're new, don't go there. Don't go where there's a lot of people, because you'll run into people and you'll be in their way. Okay, now here's a really, really, really important rule to know. Super, super important. Okay, so let's look back at the thing here. So we got the shore here, okay, and we got a peak right here. Let's say, I don't know how to draw it from this angle, but let's just say there's a left and there's a right. Okay, so it's a peak. It's a peak means it goes both ways, right? Wow. So you can write it this way or you can write it this way. So let's say that there's a surfer right here. Okay, there's a surfer right there, and you're over here. Now he's going left. Okay, so you're in his way. You're there. He's here. He has the right of way because he's farther back. He's farther back.
closer to the peak.
He's closer to the peak. He's closer to the whichever direction you're going. This is the best place to catch it. So the best surfers are always going to be right there, and they want the most speed and they want the longest ride, right? So they're always going to be back at that peak, and they're going to go as long as they can, right? So what you want to do is say you're swimming in, right, or swimming out. You're coming out and you see him. Let's say you're there. You're swimming out over there, and you see that he's taking off here, and you kind of get to know if somebody's a good surfer. If they're a bad surfer, they're just gonna fall down right here anyway and go that way. It doesn't matter. You're over here. It doesn't matter. But if he's a good surfer, that motherfucker's gonna go over here. So that means that you're gonna come here. You're gonna hit him, or you're gonna be in his way. You never want to be in people's way. It's like super important. You'll get in a fight and get your ass kicked by a bunch of locals if you do this. So do not get in people's way. So you just gotta kind of watch people and have good manners. So if he's here and I'm here, what I'll do is I'll start swimming this way, because I know he's a good surfer, so I know he's gonna go this way. So I'm just gonna curve this way a little bit, and then I'll go right past him, right? Now, worst case scenario, if somehow things get fucked up sometimes, right? Yeah. They're complicated, right? So he's coming in, he's here, you're like right here, and you can't get out of his way. That's when you want to go down deep and let him know, because if you don't let him know, he's just gonna pull out of the wave. He's gonna be pissed off. Whereas if you like look at him and say here's the wave, it's breaking as it's breaking here, right? It's breaking like along this line, left, right? Because it starts here and then it goes like this, and as it moves in, right? So it's coming in, and he's here, he's moving along. You're coming here. Usually it's called duck dive. You might duck dive here right before the wave, kind of go under it, right? But if the guy's here and you're here, you're coming this way, I would duck dive earlier, just so he knows I'm not going to be in his way. So like I clear out of his way totally, because he's like, oh shit, he's going to ruin my wave. And then I go under, and he's like, okay, fine. So then he just like whack. He keeps going that way, has a great wave, and he appreciates it. So these things, and then if he's going right, same exact rules, right? And then when you're paddling out, you're always watching where's the wave, where are the people, and then who's a good surfer and who's not. You know, who's a good body surfer. You know, who's catching waves and moving. So I'm gonna watch. I'm looking. You know, now there's nobody out here. There's like one guy, but I would be watching. I'd be like, where's the guy who can actually surf, right? And he's gonna go really fast. That guy, he knows how to stand up and everything, but he's not great. So he's not going that fast. So you wouldn't have to worry about him that much. You know, he's not gonna come all the way and hit you, right? So just notice that kind of thing. Yeah, you don't want to be getting someone's way. And if you like Sean, I was going left, and Sean was coming this way. I just taught him how to body surf. I forgot to tell him the rules because I kind of thought people knew these. It's weird, you know. Anyway, Sean like hit me, right? Totally, his body hit me, and it hits you pretty fucking hard, right? Oh, wow. You know, that's the thing. It can jam. It can knock you out, right? Two bodies. It's like, you know, the water's throwing you, and you're hitting each other. Like, fuck, you get knocked out. You could, you know, whatever. You know, it hurts, right? So don't. You know, I told him, and he's like, "Oh, sorry," because he just had no idea, right? So just keep in mind the wave's gonna take you. Oh yeah, and if you have a surfboard, don't let it go. So there's somebody right there, and I'm here, and I want to let the board go because there's like a huge wave coming this way, right? There's a massive wave coming, and I just want to let the board go and swim under, right? Say it's a huge wave, like a fucking massive wave, right? I just want to let it go and go under, right? I got my leash on, the board's gonna stop like a few feet down there, but you're there. So I gotta hold onto the board. I gotta duck dive with the board, take the board, push down the front of the board and go as deep as I can and hold on to it, right? Because that board can really fuck you up.
Will that board drag you as well? Like if you go under,
if I go under and the board's on my leg, it's gonna drag me a little bit. Yeah, but not too bad. It'll start dragging me a little bit. Yeah, but if it's really fucking big, sometimes it's so big that you gotta let it go. Like, it's just too much work. You know, like there are times when you're just kind of You're just buying time between sets, you know. Yeah, if it's big, yeah. You gotta have a lot of strategies, right?
Okay.
Yeah. One, you want to keep your board, and if there's anybody near, you know, towards the shore from you, don't let the board go. And if you're surfing, keep in mind that board can kill someone. It can really hurt somebody. One of my friends, he was coming on a big, it was a reasonable sized wave, let's say 1.5 feet high, so maybe 10 feet high. He was 10 foot face. He was coming down the wave, and I was coming out. I was paddling out on my board in high school. And I was the weirdest thing. He came straight at me. He was a good surfer too. But it's just like he had one of these days. He surfed right at me and the board, and then he was standing on the board. He's coming straight at me. And then when he fell off, he shot it right towards me. And it hit me right in the neck. Hit me right in the voice box. And I swear to God, it almost paralyzed me. I had a high neck. So I had a wetsuit. Like right now I got a high neck, kind of a little bit of high neck here. So I had a really high neck. I had a piping hot Australian wetsuit with a huge neck. And I think that saved me because it hit me so hard. Because he was going probably 30, right? He was going 20 or 30 miles an hour. And then he shot the board at me. And it literally caved in my windpipe down to the spinal column. I could feel it push in. And I was underwater. I thought I was paralyzed. It like really can hurt you. Like also my friend, he did an off the lip. Off the lip is when you come up and you hit the wave and on the board and you come back. He did that, and then he got lost control. The tip of the board came up and ripped his ear in half. So we had to take him to the hospital to get his ear sewed together again. And they cut his wetsuit off with a knife, and he was so pissed because it was brand new. He's like, "Don't cut it off, just take it off." But the doctor's like, "No way, we're cutting this off." So
That's just serious.
well, he was surfing. It was a high performance board with a sharp nose. That's why I was recommending, like new surfers, you want to get like a mid-length board. It's got a round nose. You know, it can hit you, but it's not. It doesn't have that point on it, right? That the other boards have, right? That's why it's also that point makes it much slower when you're paddling. The round nose, if a board has here's what a mid-length board looks like. So basically, a mid-length board is kind of like this, right? And kind of like that all the way around. It's like a big cucumber or whatever, right? That shape there is easier to ride. You know, whereas if you have like a high performance board, then it's more like that. You know, it's that tip, right? It's more like that. That's a high performance board. That's much harder to paddle, harder to get up on, less speed. It's no fun if you're new. Like, do not ride a board like that.
Okay.
This kind of board will make you have a bad day. Right? And at the same time, you don't want a log. It's called a log. A log is like a 10-foot board, and it's just super fucking thick, and it's like just heavy, and it's just like, it's no fun because you're gonna stand up on it, but then once you stand up on it, it doesn't do anything, and so it's kind of boring. You're just standing there, and it's almost like you have no control, right? With a mid-length board. You know, like I posted in the thing, and I can put it underneath the video.
Yes.
A good mid-length board, you can do stuff with it. You can turn, you can use the power of the wave, and you can have fun. You can even hit the lip. You can even do an off the lip. You can do a small cutback, and you can do nice bottom turn, right? You can do all that kind of stuff with a decent mid-length board, okay? So that's kind of what the right size. Not too big, not a big old log, and not a high performance like a twin fin, tri-fin, 5-fin fucking performance board. And you can easily see by the nose and by the back. And also, performance boards are thinner. Yeah, whereas the slower boards are thicker, right? So the thing about a mid-length is, here's why the mid-length is so good, is because it's like this cucumber thing, right? So it's got the area, okay? It's got the area to flow good, but it's not that thick. It's not so thick. So it's kind of got everything. It's stable, right? But it's not so stable it doesn't move, right? It's not so long that it's hard. And also it's not so heavy that you can't carry it. Like a real heavy log, dude, you try to walk from the fucking parking lot to here, your arm's gonna be falling off, right? It's not even fun at all. This is so boring, right? So make sure you can hold the board, carry the board,
Okay.
right? And the ones I recommended, those boards are light enough you can carry them.
Sweet.
So let's see what else is there. Let's see what else. It's just basic stuff, but there's 2 high tides a day and there's 2 low tides a day, right? And the high tide and low tide will make the waves break differently. So this beach will be no good at low tide, but it'll be good at high tide, for example, right? So you got to kind of know that. You got south swell, north swell, and you also got tide. And it's always changing. So that's why surfers, that's why it's so hard, is because you got to know the wave, you got to know the swell, you got to know the season, you got to know the beach, you got to know who's out there, right? If there's like tons of fucking really good surfers out there, it's not going to be fun. You're not going to have fun because you can't even take off on a wave. Because every time you try to take off, there's some guy behind you taking off farther back, right? So that's the other reason. So if in doubt, if there's a bunch of people, go to where it's shittier because you know that you're not going to be in everybody's way, right? And then it shifts all the time. It shifts all the fucking time. So what other questions do we have here? What other things? Oh yeah, we moved today. There's a lot of movement, like I said. So we started out like right here, and we went all the way down to that rainbow fucking lifeguard tower, past that lifeguard tower in pretty short period of time. It was maybe 20 minutes, maybe.
Didn't even feel like I was moving.
Yeah, it wasn't. Like, you didn't feel like it was moving. You guys didn't even notice. I pointed out, but you guys didn't hear it. What I said as soon as we got out there, I said, look, always do this. When you get out in the water, you look in the water first for the waves, right? And also you're looking for a lull where there's no sets, and you can, like right now is a bad time to go out. Big wave coming in, terrible time to start swimming or paddling. Because you're gonna have to fight this wave and there's another one right behind it. And these things are gonna pull you way in. And you're gonna get no progress, your arms are getting super tired. Very boring, right? So if you have a board, you wait till the last wave comes in and then see how it comes up now? It's kind of higher. When it's like that high, then you fucking run like a motherfucker with the board and then jump and slide on the board, let the board take you, and then you save a few paddles. Yeah. As it comes up here, it'll kind of go back and help you, right? So as it comes up, there's no more waves. Like there's a wave, you don't want that. So I would kind of wait till between sets, when you're new especially, wait between sets. And then fucking it comes up, and then fucking run, take your board, or run and jump, and then start going out. And then, so what I always do is I always pick a point. So that's why I went out to this lifeguard tower, because I'm like, okay, I see this lifeguard tower, it's right there. So now I know when I'm out in the water, I know if I've gone this way or I've gone that way, because you won't notice it. Like you didn't notice it, right? You could go a mile down the beach and not even notice it. And the thing is, that's 2 things go wrong. 1, people can steal your shit. And 2, you can get totally fucking lost. Like you can go so far down the beach, especially in Mexico, where there's nothing, you could be way the fuck. I've been out on days where we'll go out for like 3 hours. Fuck, we will be way the fuck down the beach. And also you can hit something, right? Like those rocks. Luckily it's going this way. It's going this way, not going that way. And then, but the thing is, if we wait another, say, hour, we would have been at that pier. We would have been hitting that pier, and that's sketchy as fuck. So you're always watching. So what I do is I pick a good spot, okay, good wave, and then I always keep updating if it's changing, if it's moving, where can I go right or left, right? I like right. So I'm trying to find a good right. Then I look at the beach and I say, where are we? Okay, I'm in front of that blue building down there, or in front of the lifeguard tower, or, that tent. I'll find something to get my sense of where I am. And then every few minutes I'll go look and see where it is. And then I'll arrange myself. So let's say I'm going a little bit this way. Then between waves I'll move back and get right in front of the lifeguard tower again. And it keeps you in the good wave. Yeah, because the people that don't know the water, they'll let themselves drift, but then there's usually no waves over there. So you just end up floating. You don't get any waves. That's the main thing. Is you move away from the good waves, because you're doing that when you first go out. You're thinking that, right? Yeah. So let's see what else is there to know. What else is basic here?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So one thing I experienced when we were out, I was out there and I caught the wave wrong and I got rolled 2 or 3 times. Like just say twice. I noticed like when I was getting rolled, I was trying to relax. Obviously, it's pretty scary. But the main thing that hit me was like I couldn't breathe. Like I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't take a breath, obviously. And that was the thing in my mind. I relaxed. I'm like, but I can't breathe. Like I can't get another breath. How long will I be down here? Any advice from when you're in that moment and you feel that like I'm at maybe half capacity or less, but I gotta wait till this fucking shit's over. Like, what do you do, or how would you think about that?
Okay, so you just gotta know that you can hold your breath for about 3 minutes. Okay, now you can time a wave, how long it takes to get from there to here. It's a short period of time. So, you know, that wave, just think of how far it comes. Not very far. And you're not out there. You know, you're only under for a few seconds. So you got to know you got 3 minutes, right? You got 3 minutes, you're fine. And just relax. It's going to be over. It's going to be over. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right? And then if another one comes, what I'll do if it's really, really fucking heavy, super heavy, I'll be like in the white water, they call it the washing machine. You're in the washing machine. Then you come up. Okay, here's the key thing. This is actually really important. Now you've asked me a question. So the key thing is, when you come up, look that way. Do not, because people come up and they're looking towards the shore, and then they come up to take a breath, and then another wave comes behind them.
That's happened to me.
And then
so focused on getting back.
Yeah, and then what happens is then you suck in water, and then it gets more dangerous. So it's like one thing leads to another. So you always come up and look that way. And what I'll do if it's really big is as soon as I come up, I'll fucking grab a breath. I will not wait 1 second. I'll just like come up and then I'm ready. If another wave comes, I have to go back under, because every breath you have like 3 minutes. So I come up and I take a breath, I wait for the next one, and just remember, it can only go so long and there's only so many waves. Because a set is generally 3 waves. There's generally like 3 big waves. Sometimes it's 2, usually 3 waves. So a set is 3 waves. So the worst thing that can happen, you get caught inside. It's called caught inside when the wave's like this and then it breaks in front of you.
Yeah.
You're inside. So you get caught inside, and then that wave catches you. Then you see another one coming, and then you get a breath of air. Then the next one comes, and then there's probably one more, you know, and then one hits you. And then
it felt overwhelming because like I knew what I was trying to do. It felt a little bit overwhelming because I knew what I was trying to do, but obviously at that point I was in a bad position and I was felt powerless obviously, and I could hardly breathe. Plus I got a little bit of water in, so I'm like, the only thing that like really helped me through it was everything you had said so far that I heard, and so I was just like, just try to relax. Like it's gonna roll. And then there was a moment where I could feel the sand. I was coming in enough, I could feel, but I'm still getting rolled. I could feel the sand under my feet, and at that point I just pushed up as hard as I could, and then I caught a breath above it. And then maybe it was gonna happen anyways, but in that moment I was like, oh fuck, was that a good idea? Do you have any other recommendations for that? Or
well, you're always gonna float to the surface. You know, so you don't have to freak out, because salt water floats you. So you don't even have to swim. You can just go out there and float. Now it feels like you're underwater because your mouth might go a couple inches underwater, but if you just go out there, let go of everything, let yourself go underwater, take a breath, go under, and then feel yourself. Your body will come back up. Your body will come back up in the salt water, 100%.
Okay.
I actually did that when you told me to, and it did work. And I generally don't float because I don't have like any body fat, so. I didn't think it was going to work at all, but it did. Yep.
It does. You float. So in salt water. So in the ocean, you really don't even need to swim. Really, you just take a breath. Like I could be out there for 2 weeks as long as I had fresh water. No problem. As long as I had fresh water, all it is you just put your head under. You kind of float down, sit there for a minute or whatever, come back up, take a breath, float again. You know, as long as you weren't getting too sunburned and you had fresh water, you don't have to swim. You can't drown. You just have to not freak out. In the salt water, your body floats. So you're fighting against something that doesn't even exist.
You're the first person I've ever heard say that.
Yeah, no, nobody ever says that. It's true. Salt water, you float. Okay? So let yourself do it. Go try it. Go in the ocean, take a breath, let go totally. Let your body just relax. Feel yourself going down. You'll come down like, say, a half a foot or a foot. And then just stay there. You got plenty of air. And then you'll see. Your body will start to come up. And you can even do it like this. I've even tried where I don't use my body at all. I don't use my arms or legs. And then I come down. And then I come up and I get a breath without even moving anything. Okay, because your mouth just comes up enough and then go. I've tried that where I don't use any energy at all. And you can do it. You can totally.
That sounds like a great thing to practice and experience.
Yeah, it's again, it's that practice of not freaking out. You're not freaking out. You're just relaxing. You can't drown, right? You're not gonna sink. Human body floats in the salt water. Now in a lake, you have to swim more, or in a pool. You don't float in a pool or lake. But in the ocean, you swim, you float. Yeah, so the ocean in many ways is safer, you know. And so then let's see what else. What else? Basically, you're not gonna get eaten by a shark. You know, don't worry about that.
Stingrays. How do we avoid stingrays?
Okay, so stingrays, I don't know, it depends on where you are, but California's a lot of stingrays. And they're these big fucking animals. They're terrible. So they look like this. They're like big, flat, fucking ugly things. So they go like this, and then in the back there's a little tail. So what happens is you step on it, and then he automatically swings that tail and puts a big barb into your leg. And it kills. It really hurts. Like, grown men cry. Like, it hurts. If you do get hit by a stingray, there's really not much you can do. You can put hot water on it. There's really not much you can do. Most people go to the hospital, but you don't need to because it doesn't matter. Nothing's gonna happen.
Just gotta ride it out.
Yeah, I would never. I would never let him take me to the hospital because you're just gonna pay for the ambulance. No fucking reason.
They don't do anything. They can't kill the pain.
Voodoo dolls giving you a fucking Hello Kitty ball or whatever. There's not really much they can do. Man. Just you just gotta tough it out. It'll be better. It'll get better. Same with jellyfish. Jellyfish, they the big ones here, they hurt. You know, I've had jellyfish go all the way across my chest because I came through a white water like that, and it was in the white water, and it went all the way around my chest. So the tentacles were going around me. Like I got stung not just in one place, but all the fucking way around. And no, it wasn't so bad. I had like it looked like a brand or a fucking tattoo or something for a while. Yeah, and then it hurt, but then it got better. No big deal. Stingrays, jellyfish. How you avoid stingrays? Jellyfish, you can just look for them. Usually you can see them floating, you know. And also, certain seasons, there's more jellyfish. So like in Japan, like in September, it's really pretty, but there's a lot of jellyfish, but they're not so big. So when I go swimming in Japan in September, October, I'll get stung like 30 times when I'm out because they're not that big. Those kind of sting you all over. You get used to it. Yeah, fuck it. It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's worth it. But with jellyfish, with stingrays, you want to shuffle your feet. So when you go out in the water, say you're going out here, you don't want to go like this. That's how you hit a stingray, is by lifting your foot out. Instead, you want to always shuffle your feet. Shuffle your feet, and what happens is that the stingray can hear that, and he gets out of your way. So the stingray, he's not trying to get you. It's just that if you step on him, he's going to hit you. So by shuffling your feet all the time, you'll avoid 99% of stingrays.
They're usually almost always on the bottom.
They're on the bottom. They sit on the bottom. Yeah. And they can be really close to shore. Like they could be right where that white water is, right there. They could be right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not out too far because they're in the sand. So they're going to be near, you know, somewhere. They could be like where that wave is or here, you know, kind of right there. So you just shuffle your feet. So I always shuffle my feet if I'm paying attention. And then you get lazy and don't do it, but...
Well, can you like drag your toes kind of like that, or...?
No, shuffle the whole feet like this. Shuffle. Yeah, like you're pulling them through the sand. Just.
Have you ever felt a stingray while doing that?
You won't. You won't feel a stingray. Once in a while, you'll kind of step on a stingray, You'll step on a stingray and he won't get you, or you'll step on part of a stingray, or you'll hit a fish that feels like a stingray. So there's a couple of fish in California that feel like stingrays. So you don't know 100% for sure if it was a stingray, but yeah, I've kind of semi-stepped on them, I'm sure, before. They're everywhere where I grew up. There's like especially a lot of them. So yeah, stingrays are everywhere. I never got stung. Never in my entire life. Yeah, so I've been out when there's a lot of sharks in the water, great whites. I've been out where there's a lot of bull sharks, hammerheads, different kinds of sharks. Never been eaten, obviously. So, you know, it's like, don't be too worried about it. Like, enjoy the ocean, and these rules that I'm telling you is they'll help you enjoy it. And did I tell them to go down? So when the wave is coming, right? The wave's coming, right? So it's pretty shallow out there. Basically, it's a pretty powerful wave, right? Actually, small but powerful. So you don't want it to. So the next thing is getting out in the water. So the waves are coming this way, and you want to go that way. So basically, you got to go under the wave. And the biggest mistake people make is they don't go far enough under. So they think, oh, as long as or even worse, most people want to go over because they feel like it's safer. Their head's above water, right? That's it. Okay, your head should go underwater. Get used to your head going underwater. Don't keep your head above water because it's a waste of energy. When you're swimming, your head goes underwater and you're relaxed. You try to hold your head up in the water, you have to swim 10 times harder. Because you'll just grab a breath, let your head go under. And it's much easier. Grab a breath, let your head go under. So when you're duck diving, you're going under the wave, so the wave goes over you, so you can go out. And basically, you just want to go down. If the wave's not that big, you can just go down a little bit. But if you feel it pulling you, you go down, but it's kind of pulling you back, then you want to go down farther. So what I'll do is I'll go down, and then I'll dig my hands into the sand, right? Facing that way, of course. I'll be going out that way. And then I'll go under, and I'll dig my hands into the sand, right? Both of them. And then, no matter how big it is, it won't pull me back. And then as soon as the wave goes over my head, so the wave comes over my head, I go down, the wave comes over my head, then I kind of pull up and I immediately go that way. Don't wait. As soon as the wave goes past you, go. Yeah, don't wait, because if you wait too long, it's another wave. Yeah. And also you're wasting time because behind the wave, it's very mellow and it lets you go that way pretty easily. Yeah. It's weird. Like just behind the wave is safe. Yeah. So that's all you do is just get past the wave. Yeah. So you want to, it's called duck diving if you have a board, but let's just call it duck diving. You just duck dive, go down, practice. The wave goes over you and it doesn't pull you. You duck dive, you go down, the wave doesn't pull you. And then you're just swimming out. No problem. It can't do shit to you.
How do you do that with a board? Because they float, you know, like.
Yeah. Okay. So what you do is you grab the thing there. Don't cover the print. That's how. Yeah. Okay. So with that is can you see my hands?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab the front of my board. Let's say it's a performance board. I got the front of it. So then I'm gonna push. I can use my knee too. I can go like this. I can use it and I can push down, or I can just take it and then push my hand down with the board, and then you just kind of go down under, and then the back of the board comes up, and then you're going down, and the wave comes up. So you don't want to push the whole board under. You want to just push the nose down. So you just the nose down, and then when the nose goes down, the rest won't pull as much. You're pretty good. Just push the nose down, move, get your weight on. Put your weight on your hand. Push that nose straight down. Not straight down, but like push it down. And then you'll see, as you go in that angle, the wave can't take you. When you're like this, it can pull you easier. When you're like this, you're digging in. So what I'll do is I'll paddle, I'm going towards the town, going this way. So I'm paddling, and then I grab the board, and then I put my weight on the front, and then I go under, and then the wave goes over, and then you naturally pop up just behind the wave, and then start paddling. So that's the duck diving, goes under, come up, you start paddling, another wave, duck dive, paddling. And you want to not waste time. You want to not waste time. So you want to get as fast as it's called the lineup. You want to get to the lineup as soon as possible. So that's where the waves are best. Don't be inshore. Don't be anywhere here in the middle. This is what everybody does there. It's so funny. Everybody thinks it's safest here. This is the worst place to be. This is where the water's moving. It's all going to throw you around. This is why everybody doesn't like the ocean, is scared of the ocean. Because they're all right here in the worst part. But look out there. It's totally relaxed out there. Right?
Yeah.
Super relaxed out there. Nothing's happening. You're cruising out there. But you're standing right here, you're going to get fucking hit by this wave. But look over there, nothing. Right? So you want to get out to the lineup as soon as possible. And then again, always adjust. Where am I? Where's the waves? Where's the best place? How far am I going down the beach? What else? Yeah, that's it, man. Just catch waves, have fun. It's fucking, with these things, water safety, you'll have a great time in the ocean. Because you'll be like, you're kind of like automatic master. That's how you'll feel. Yeah, like all of a sudden, you'll be like, totally have the ocean down. If you follow these waves, these rules. It's amazing. It's like amazing. Like, because you're not using your force. You're using your brain. It's all using your brain and knowledge. Yeah. And sometimes you have to swim hard, but usually, no. Usually it's all the ability to relax, brain knowledge, and fuck, it's easy, man. It's easy. It's not dangerous. These lifeguards are full of shit. It's like so dumb. Because you got to go out there and experience this kind of thing. With all this water moving, you got to feel that, right? Then you're like, oh my God, like, I need to learn something, right? I can't keep doing what I was doing, right? What you guys were doing wasn't working, right?
Yeah.
So you guys wanted to learn, so we made this, right?
Yeah.
It's because you went out when it was like currents, right? So don't be afraid of it. You want to challenge yourself a little bit. Always kind of push yourself a little bit past your limit. And then when you get in a bad situation, just remember, number one rule is